Picture this, you're doing your laundry and your favorite shirt comes out cleaner than ever, even though you washed it in cold water. You grab a plant-based burger that tastes exactly like beef. You're wearing jeans that feel incredibly soft without using harsh chemicals. What do all these things have in common? They're all powered by nature's tiniest factories, industrial enzymes. These microscopic molecular machines are quietly revolutionizing manufacturing as we know it. And today, we're diving deep into what might be the most important industrial transformation you've never heard of. Now, I know what you're thinking. Enzymes? Isn't that something from high school biology? Well, yes, but these aren't your textbook enzymes anymore. We're talking about precision engineered biological tools that can replace harsh chemicals, slash energy costs by 80%, and even help us tackle the plastic waste crisis. Imagine a factory where instead of using high temperatures, hot enough to melt steel, and chemicals that will require hazmat suits, they're using nature's own tools at room temperature with water as your main solvent. That's not science fiction, that's happening right now in facilities across the globe. Welcome to Apprentice.io's Industry Insights. I'm Frank Maggiore, and today we're exploring how biological catalysts are reshaping everything from your morning bread to the fuel in your car. And here's the kicker, this $7 billion industry is expected to nearly double by 2030, and it's happening right now under our noses. Today, we'll take you inside the bioreactors where these enzymes are grown, meet the companies betting billions of dollars on biological manufacturing, and explore how cloud-based manufacturing execution systems are making this revolution possible. We'll discover why everyone from Levi's to Exxon is racing to adopt enzyme technologies, and how these microscopic workers might just be our secret weapon against climate change. But here's where it gets really interesting. The same enzymes that make your bread fluffy are being engineered to break down plastic bottles in hours instead of centuries. The proteins that tenderize your steak are being reprogrammed to manufacture life-saving drugs. And those enzymes in your detergent, they're the descendants of organisms found in Yellowstone's hot springs. So whether you're a manufacturer looking to cut costs and emissions, an investor searching for the next big thing, or just someone curious about the invisible forces shaping our world, we're about to explore a technology that's literally changing the molecular structure of modern industry. We'll uncover the science, the business opportunities, and the game-changing applications of industrial enzymes. Trust me, by the end of this episode, you'll never look at your laundry detergent or manufacturing the same way again. Let's dive in. Alright, let's start with the basics. What exactly are industrial enzymes? Think of them as nature's power tools, molecular machines that have been perfected over billions of years of evolution. They're proteins that speed up chemical reactions, sometimes by orders of magnitude more. Without them, life as we know it wouldn't exist. Here's a fun fact. The enzyme in your saliva, it breaks down the starch millions of times faster than without it. That's the power we're harnessing at industrial scale. And before you ask, no, we're not collecting spit for industrial use, though honestly, given some of the places we find these enzymes, that wouldn't even be the weirdest source. Industrial enzymes come from everywhere, from the guts of termites that can digest wood, to bacteria thriving in volcanic hot springs, to fungi growing on your forgotten leftovers. Sorry for that mental image, but that fuzzy bread mold, it's actually a pharmaceutical gold mine. The main players in the enzyme world are like a specialized workforce. You've got Amylases, the starch busters. These guys break down complex carbohydrates and are the reason your bread is fluffy and your beer is, well, beer. Proteases, the protein specialists. They're in your detergent, breaking down those stubborn grass and blood stains. They're also why your cheese ages and your meat tenderizes. Lipases, the fat fighters, not just in your diet pills, but in everything from biodiesel production to making your ice cream creamier. Cellulases, the plant deconstructors. These are the superstars turning agricultural waste into biofuels and making your jeans feel soft without sandblasting. Now here's where it gets really cool. Unlike chemical catalysts that often require extreme conditions, think of sulfuric acid baths at 200 degrees Celsius. Enzymes work at body temperature, in water, at neutral pH. It's like the difference between using a sledgehammer and a precision laser. But enzymes are divas. They need just the right conditions. Too hot, they unfold like a badly stored sweater. Too cold, they work slower than a Monday morning without coffee. Wrong pH, they literally change shape and stop working. This specificity is both their superpower and their kryptonite. The magic happens at what we call the active site. Imagine a perfectly shaped lock that only accepts one key. When the right molecule comes along, it fits perfectly. The enzyme does its thing and releases the product, ready to do it all over again. Enzyme molecules can process thousands of substrate molecules in a short period of time. It's like having a worker who never needs a break, never makes mistakes, and can work even in the dark. So how do we make these microscopic miracle workers? Well, we don't exactly make them. We convince microorganisms to make them for us. It's like running a farm, but instead of cows producing milk, we have bacteria and fungi producing enzymes. Welcome to the world of bioreactors, massive steel vessels that are part brewery, part intensive care unit, and part data center. Picture a giant stainless steel tank, sometimes holding 100,000 liters or more. That's about 50 to 85 hot tubs worth, filled with a carefully controlled soup of nutrients and microorganisms. The process starts small, really small. We're talking about a single genetically modified bacterium or yeast cell that's been programmed to overproduce our desired enzyme. This microscopic factory is placed in a petri dish, then a flask, then increasingly larger vessels until we reach industrial scale. It's like leveling up in a video game, except each level costs exponentially more, and the boss fight is contamination. And let me tell you, contamination is the ultimate boss fight. One unwanted microbe in your fermenter is like a zombie in a crowded mall. It spreads fast and it ruins everything. The fermentation process is where science meets art. We're monitoring everything. Temperature within 0.1 degrees, pH to 2 decimal places, dissolved oxygen levels, nutrient concentrations, foam formation. Because yes, industrial fermenters can foam like a shaken beer bottle. And that's bad news when you're dealing with 100,000 liters. And here's where it gets tricky. As our microorganisms grow and multiply, they're consuming oxygen faster than we can dissolve it in the liquid. We're stirring this massive tank with impellers that would make a cruise ship propeller jealous, while pumping in sterile air from compressors the size of trucks. The power bill alone would make your eyes water. But wait, there's more. These organisms are picky eaters. Too much glucose, they get lazy and stop producing enzymes. Too little, they starve. The feeding strategy is so complex that it requires computer models and real-time adjustments. It's like keeping a very temperamental, very expensive pet that just happens to poop out valuable enzymes. Once fermentation is complete, usually after 3 to 7 days, we have to get our enzyme out of this soup. This downstream processing is where we separate the enzyme from the cells, leftover nutrients, and about 1,000 other things that we don't want. We're using centrifuges that spin at thousands of RPMs, filters with pores smaller than the bacteria, and purification columns that would make a chemist weep with joy. The quality control, obsessive doesn't begin to cover it. We're testing enzyme activity, purity, contamination, and stability. One batch could be worth millions of dollars, so you better believe we're checking it twice. Maybe 3 times. Okay, definitely 3 times. Now, who's playing in this enzymatic sandbox? The industrial enzyme market is like Game of Thrones, but with less dragons and more IPOs. The undisputed king of the enzyme realm is Novozymes, now Novonesis, as part of the Novo Group, a Danish company that controls about 48% of the global market. These guys have been in the enzyme game since 1925, and they're sitting on a library of over 700 enzyme products. Their headquarters looks like a modern art museum, but inside, they're brewing up solutions to some of the world's biggest challenges. Then there's DuPont, now part of IFF, after some corporate musical chairs, bringing serious American muscle to the enzyme game. DSM from the Netherlands is another heavy hitter, and they're particularly strong in food enzymes. BASF from Germany rounds out the big four, and they're pushing hard into sustainable chemistry applications. But here's where it gets spicy. The new kids on the block are shaking things up. Companies like Codexis are using AI and machine learning to design enzymes that nature never thought of. Zymergen, though they've hit some rough patches, showed that Silicon Valley is very interested in biology. And then there's a whole crop of startups with names like Ginkgo Bioworks and Arzeta that sound like they're from a sci-fi novel, but they are very real and very well funded. The numbers? Buckle up. The global industrial enzyme market hit $7.1 billion in 2023. And by 2030, we're looking at $13.5 billion. That's a compound annual growth rate of about 9.6%. in an economy where 3% growth is considered good. That's absolutely bonkers. Geographically, it's fascinating. Denmark, a country smaller than West Virginia, dominates global production. The US is huge in innovation and R&D. China is rapidly scaling up production capacity. They went from near zero to a major player in less than 2 decades. India is becoming the back office of enzyme development with some serious fermentation expertise. Investment is pouring in like sugar into a fermenter. Venture capital funding for industrial biotech, including enzymes, hit $7.8 billion in 2021 alone. Even with the recent market cooldowns, enzymes are still hot. Why? Because investors see what's coming. Regulations pushing for greener chemistry, consumers demanding sustainable products. The enzyme engineering capabilities are exploding exponentially. The merger and acquisition activity is like watching hungry hippos. Big companies are gobbling up innovative startups faster than the enzymes can break down starch. Novonesis bought Albumetics, DSM merged with Firmenich, and everyone's eyeing the next breakthrough technology. But here's the plot twist. The real growth isn't coming from the traditional markets. It's coming from completely new applications nobody even imagined 5 years ago. Enzymes for carbon capture, plastic recycling, sustainable electronics manufacturing. These markets didn't even exist a decade ago. Okay, let's talk about where these enzymes are actually working their magic. And trust me, they're everywhere. Like biological ninjas doing their job so well, you don't even know that they're there. Let's start with your closet. That soft, worn-in feeling of your favorite jeans? Thank enzymes. The textile industry uses cellulases in a process called biopolishing. Instead of sandblasting denim, which is terrible for workers' lungs, enzymes gently remove the fuzzy fibers, making fabric softer and giving it that lived-in look. Levi's saves up to 96% in some processes of the water that typically is used in jean finishing, thanks to enzyme technology. Moving to the kitchen, enzymes are the unsung heroes of modern food. That lactose-free milk, lactase enzymes broke down the milk sugar. The cheese on your pizza, microbial rennet replaced traditional animal-derived enzymes. High fructose corn syrup, love it or hate it, exists because of glucose isomerase. And here's a mind blower. Those perfectly clarified fruit juices, pectinase enzymes break down the pectin that makes juice cloudy. But the really exciting stuff is happening in next-gen foods. Impossible Foods uses genetically modified yeast producing soy like hemoglobin, the enzyme that makes their burgers bleed. Perfect Day is making dairy proteins without the cows using engineered fungi. The $290 billion alternative protein market, it runs on enzymes. Now let's talk fuel. Second-generation biofuels are all about the enzymes. We're taking agricultural waste, corn stover, sugarcane bagasse, wood chips, and using cocktails of cellulases and hemicellulases to break them down into fermentable sugars. Companies like Poet and Clariant are running commercial-scale plants, turning waste into fuel. Your gas tank might already have enzyme-produced ethanol in it. The pharmaceutical industry is having an enzyme renaissance. Traditional chemical synthesis often creates a 50-50 mix of left and right-handed molecules, but only one form is medically active. Enzymes are naturally chiral. They only make one form. Sitagliptin, a diabetes drug, is now made using an engineered enzyme, reducing waste by up to 80% and eliminating heavy metal catalysts. That's not just green, it's safer and cheaper. And here's my favorite part, the circular economy applications. Carbios, a French company, developed an enzyme that breaks down PET plastic. Not mechanically recycled, but actually broken down to the original monomers, ready to make virgin quality plastic once again. Imagine every plastic bottle being infinitely recyclable. That's the promise of enzymatic recycling. And personal care, that enzymatic exfoliation on your fancy face cream, real enzymes gently dissolving dead skin cells. The brightening toothpaste, enzymes breaking down stains. Color-safe laundry detergent, engineered proteases that attack stains but not the dyes. Shampoo for sensitive scalps, enzymes so gentle they're used in baby products. The newest frontier, material science. Spider silk proteins produced by engineered bacteria. Self-healing concrete with carbonic anhydrase enzymes that capture CO2 while strengthening the material. Biodegradable plastics that actually biodegrade in your backyard compost. We're not just replacing chemicals, we're enabling entirely new materials that were impossible with traditional chemistry. Now, before you think this is all sunshine and enzymatic rainbows, let me tell you about the challenges. Because scaling up from a lab bench to industrial production, that's where things get really interesting. And by interesting, I mean occasionally hair pulling, coffee chugging, and why did I choose this career challenging. The first reality check: what works in a 1-liter flask doesn't always work in a 100,000-liter fermenter. It's like the difference between making soup for your family and catering for a wedding for 1,000 people. The physics changes, the mixing is different, and don't even get me started on heat transfer. In a small flask, heat dissipates easily. In a massive tank, your microorganisms could literally cook themselves with their own metabolic heat. Contamination control at scale is like playing whack-a-mole while blindfolded. Every valve, every pipe, every gasket is a potential entry point for unwanted microbes. We're sterilizing with steam at 120 degrees Celsius, using filters with pores so small they catch bacteria, and clean rooms that maintain positive pressure differentials. One contaminated batch can cost millions of dollars and shut down production for weeks. Then there's the stability issue. Enzymes are like prima donna performers. They need everything just right. Too much shear stress from mixing, they unfold. pH drift by 0.2 units, activity drops by 30%. Temperature spike during a cooling system failure, you've just made very expensive protein soup. This is where cloud-based manufacturing execution systems become the hero of our story. Imagine having thousands of sensors throughout your facility, all feeding real-time data to a centralized system that's not just recording, but analyzing, predicting, and alerting. It's like having 1,000 expert operators watching every parameter 24/7. Modern MES platforms integrate everything from raw material tracking to final product quality. They're using machine learning to predict when a batch might go off spec before it happens. Got a slight upward trend in dissolved oxygen consumption? The system notices and adjusts the feed rate automatically. Seeing unusual foam formation? It alerts operators and can even trigger automated anti-foam addition. This regulatory compliance piece is huge. In pharma-grade enzyme production, you need to track everything. Where did that glucose come from? What was the temperature profile during fermentation? Who changed that filter? When and why? A cloud-based manufacturing execution system creates an unbreakable chain of documentation. FDA inspection, here's every parameter from every batch for the last 5 years. Searchable and analyzable in seconds. But here's the real game changer: predictive analytics. By analyzing thousands of batches across multiple facilities, these systems learn what parameters lead to the highest yields, the best quality, and the most stable enzymes. They can suggest optimizations that humans would never spot. The integration capabilities are mind-blowing. Your MES talks to your enterprise resource planning system, your laboratory management system, your warehouse management system. A quality test fails, the system automatically quarantines the batch, notifies quality assurance, adjusts the production schedules, and updates inventory projections, all in seconds without human intervention. And let's talk about tech transfer and scale-up. Moving a process from pilot to production used to take months of trial and error. With comprehensive manufacturing execution system data, you can model exactly how the process will behave at larger scales. Digital twins of your fermenters let you test scenarios virtually before risking any real batches. Alright, let's peer into the crystal ball and see what's coming. And folks, the future of industrial enzymes is wilder than any sci-fi movie, except it's actually happening. First up, AI-designed enzymes. We're not just screening natural enzymes anymore, we're designing them from scratch. Companies like Arzetta and Ginkgo Bioworks are using machine learning to predict how changes in amino acid sequences will affect enzyme function. It's like having 1,000,000 years of evolution happen in a computer over a weekend. Need an enzyme that works in organic solvents? Design it. Want one that's active at minus 20 degrees Celsius for frozen food processing? No problem. The design, build, test cycle, that used to take months, now it happens in days. Synthetic biology is revolutionizing how we make enzymes. We're not just limited to one gene from one organism anymore. Scientists are creating synthetic pathways, combining genes from multiple species, even creating entirely artificial genetic circuits. Imagine enzymes that turn on and off based on environmental signals, or cascades of enzymes that perform complex multi-step chemistry in a single cell. The circular economy applications are exploding. Beyond plastic recycling, we're seeing enzymes designed to recover rare earth elements from electronic waste, break down textile blends for recycling, even extract valuable metals from mining waste. The EU's Circular Economy Action Plan is pumping billions into enzyme technology. By 2030, enzymatic recycling could be as common as mechanical recycling is today. Carbon negative manufacturing is the holy grail, and enzymes are the key. Carbonic anhydrase, one of the fastest enzymes in nature, is being engineered to capture CO2 from industrial emissions and convert it into useful chemicals. Lanzatech is using engineered bacteria to turn steel mill waste gases into ethanol. We're literally turning pollution into products. Here's a mind bender: self-assembling materials guided by enzymes. Researchers are developing systems where enzymes control the assembly of nanostructures, creating materials with properties we can turn on and off. Self-healing plastics, shape-changing fabrics, materials that get stronger under stress. It's material science meeting biology. The integration with other technologies is accelerating everything. Quantum computers modeling enzyme dynamics, automated labs testing thousands of variants daily, continuous manufacturing replacing batch fermentation. The convergence is creating capabilities we couldn't imagine just 5 years ago. And the markets? Get ready for enzyme applications in quantum dot synthesis, bio-based electronics, even space manufacturing. NASA's looking into enzymes for closed-loop life support systems on Mars missions. If that's not future enough for you, I don't know what is. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the hot springs of Yellowstone to the bioreactors of Denmark, from your laundry room to potential manufacturing facilities on Mars. So let's bring it all home. We've learned that industrial enzymes aren't just another manufacturing tool. They're a fundamental shift in how we make things. These biological catalysts are replacing harsh chemicals with nature's own solutions, turning waste into resources and enabling products that were literally impossible just a decade ago. We've seen how modern manufacturing techniques, powered by cloud-based manufacturing execution systems, are turning the art of fermentation into a precise science. How companies are scaling up from petri dishes to industrial tanks the size of buildings, all while maintaining the delicate balance these molecular machines require. But here's what really matters, and this is the message of hope I want to leave you with today. Every major challenge facing manufacturing today, sustainability, carbon emissions, waste reduction, resource scarcity, has an enzymatic solution being developed right now. That plastic bottle that may take up to 450 years to degrade, enzymes can break it down within hours. Those toxic chemicals required for textile processing, replaced by proteins that work in water at body temperature. The agricultural waste that's traditionally burned in fields, it's becoming next-generation biofuels and materials. This isn't just about making manufacturing greener, though that's huge in itself. It's about making it better. Better products, better economics, better for workers, better for communities. When you can replace a process that requires hazardous chemicals and extreme conditions with one that uses water and works at body temperature, everybody wins. For manufacturers listening, the enzyme revolution isn't coming. It's already here. Your competitors are investigating how enzymes can cut their costs, reduce their environmental footprint, and enable new products. The question isn't whether to adopt enzyme technology, but how fast can you integrate it into your operations. For investors, this market is doubling in 6 years, but that's just the beginning. But the real opportunity is in the companies that are developing the next generation of engineered enzymes, the platforms that accelerate discovery, and the applications we haven't even imagined yet. And for everyone else, the products that you use in your everyday life are being transformed by enzyme technology. That transformation is accelerating, and it's happening because consumers like you are demanding sustainable, safe, and effective products. Here's my call to action. Learn more. Ask questions. When you see enzyme-based or bio-based on a product, know that you're looking at the future of manufacturing. Support companies making this transition. If you're in manufacturing, explore how enzymes could transform your processes. If you're in technology, consider how your expertise could help accelerate this biological revolution. The enzyme revolution is more than a technological shift. It's a return to working with nature rather than against it. It's proof that the most advanced solutions often come from understanding and then harnessing the mechanisms of life that has been perfected over billions of years. Industrial enzymes are catalysts in every sense of the word. They don't just speed up reactions, they're speeding up our transition to a sustainable circular economy. They're catalyzing innovation, investment, and hope for a manufacturing sector that can meet humanity's needs without compromising our planet's future. The future isn't just bio-based, it's enzyme-powered. And that future, it's already here, working quietly in factories around the world, one molecular transformation at a time. In an industry where precision and compliance are paramount, Apprentice's Tempo platform offers a cutting-edge manufacturing execution system solution. It's cloud-based, mobile-first, operator-centric, with the most intuitive UI in the industry, making it perfect for today's dynamic pharmaceutical manufacturing environments and for the production of the world's most complex drug products. Whether you're working on groundbreaking cell and gene therapies, biologics, or small molecules, Tempo provides a fully validated MES system that's both powerful and easy to use. It streamlines your processes, ensures compliance, and adapts to your specific manufacturing needs. So get off of paper batch records and discover how Apprentice's Tempo Manufacturing Cloud can transform your operations by visiting us at apprentice.io. Attention industry professionals, revolutionize your manufacturing process with the Apprentice Tempo Manufacturing Cloud, a manufacturing execution system built to streamline your operations, boost efficiency, and ensure compliance all in one powerful platform. Experience the future of manufacturing with our free 30-day trial. Scan the QR code on your screen now to unlock a world of innovation. Don't just keep pace, set the tempo as an industry leader with Apprentice. That's all for Apprentice.io's Industry Insights. I'm Frank Maggiore. Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for notifications when new episodes drop. Please comment on if you have any additional topics you would like for me to cover in this space, and we'll see you next week for more Industry Insights.